Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today it's going to be another vlog / drive with me episode, this time back in the Defender. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Actually before we get straight into it, I do have a more informative video coming very soon about my Defender, so that is something to look forward to. Anyway, now let's get into it. So it's not as early as the last video, so hopefully you can see me a little bit better. But yeah, so driving the Defender, that lovely fake induction noise, still don't get that. Ooh, a W222 S-Class, that's a classic. One of my friends wants me to go to a dealership here in town to check out a 2007 W221 S-Class, but not just any, an S65 AMG with I think it was 170,000 miles for like 22 grand. So I might have to do that. That will be quite interesting. I've never driven a W221. I think that's kind of like in my mind when I picture an S-Class, I generally picture the W221. But that would be interesting. A highly depreciated, you know, V12 twin turbo S-Class. Audi e-tron Sportback. That's oh man, electric cars, don't like them. Love Mach-E. I think I would love Polestar 2. And I also think I would really like e-tron and I-Pace. But other than that, hate the Leaf. I don't hate the Leaf. I don't like the Leaf. That, you know, Fiat 500 electric that we got, hated that. Never driven one. Tesla, hated. Model 3, one of the worst cars I've ever driven. It's marketed as a performance in luxury sedan. Now, granted, I did not drive the Model 3 Performance, but I hated it. It was way too soft. The suspension was so soft to be like a performance car. It did not handle well. It handled like one of those old, you know, what is the Cadillac DTS. That's what it was. It was like it was an old person car. Hated that. And the interior was not nice enough to be a luxury car. However, Model 3 is a great commuter car. Like, just going from A to B, it's well equipped. I mean, it's for a car, it's really not bad. It's just as a performance car, it's quite poor. Watch me whip, watch me nay nay. Watch me whip, whip, watch me nay nay. Watch me whip, watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip, whip, watch me nay nay. That was cringe. That was cringe. Isn't that just lovely noise? God, thank you BMW for doing that. BMW's the one to blame. They always are. And I bet the people behind me are like, what the hell is that clown doing? That guy just got pulled over. Ooh, guy in a Mazda 6 Turbo. This is the biggest song of 2004. And this will go down as a classic. Hell, it probably already is. Ooh, a Corvette. Corvette C7 Grand Sport. That is the right C7 to get, because Grand Sport, so that had the wide body of the Z06, but it had the engine from the Stingray with the 1LE or not the 1LE performance pack, the Z51 performance pack. And so you got the extra 5 horsepower from the exhaust, and that was like regarded as the best one, was the C7 Grand Sport. Now C8, I've not driven a C8, I've driven a C7. C8 is very impressive. I've been in one, and I sat in there and I was like, my God, GM, you can make a good interior. Why is this interior in a Corvette and not a Cadillac? And you know, it was so nice. And even like, all right, granted, now for 2022, the C8 Corvette is no longer under $60,000, but it's still a fucking bargain. I think now it's like 61 or 62 base, and you know, it's a car to 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. You know, a mid-engine supercar, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, in the low $60,000 range. And it's extremely well equipped. I mean, standard features on the Corvette. You know, you get heated seats, you get a 9-speaker Bose audio system, you get the latest, I think they call it IntelliLink infotainment system, which is fantastic. You know, LED headlights, just a wonderful car. Now, the C8 that everyone's gonna get probably be the 2LT, which is like the mid-range model. You get like nicer leather, you get a 10-speaker Bose surround sound system. Actually, it's a Bose Performance Series surround sound system. You know, that also gives you ventilated seats. And then, you know, if it was me, I would get that. I'd get the 2LT, and I would get the Z51 Performance Pack. So that gives you the rear wing, the limited slip diff, and then on top of that, I would get the magnetic ride control, so the MagneRide, magnetic rheological dampers, which GM has pioneered. You know, they were like the first ones to actually use. It's Bosch that developed that, but GM pioneered it. Now everyone uses it. It's used in Mustangs, and it's used in the Mach-E. It's used in all the GM trucks and SUVs. It's used in the Audi R8. It's used in the Audi RS3 and S3 and the TTRS and the TTS. It's fantastic. It's used. Ferrari uses it. It was used in the previous generation Range Rover Evoque. It's just, so basically with the magneto-rheological dampers, it is a damper that contains magnetized iron filings in a, you know, that are soaked in oil. And when you send an electric current through that, they'll stick together, so it will stiffen up. And you know, if you decrease the amount of electric current, it will soften up. And it's so quick to adjust. It can adjust itself 1,000 times every second, which is about twice as fast as a normal electronically controlled adaptive damper. So we're coming up, if you watch my Discovery vlog, we're coming back up to the old Peter's gunpowder factory. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the time I went here. Like I said, it was a couple years ago. I was there with one of my friends, and we were just like, wouldn't it be really cool to see a ghost? Actually, you know what, I'll turn in here because we can legally go in here now. Yeah, wouldn't it be really cool if we could like see a ghost? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if I believe in that. Walk in there, and it's seriously creepy. And I mean, I won't lie. It was like, okay, this is frightening. It'd be a great place for a haunted house, but it just felt, it was scary. It was obviously, it was dark. I was the idiot wearing a headlight, and it was just like, man, something is gonna come up here and just like tap me on the shoulder. Nothing did, and it, you know, I heard something. I honestly think it was like an animal. I don't think it was a ghost, but I heard something. I mean, this would have been like the perfect place for Zach Bagans and the Ghost Adventures crew to check out. They actually are, one of those ghost hunting shows actually went to the Kings Island amusement park. It wasn't Zach Bagans, it was the other one. But there's a graveyard there, and actually this gunpowder factory is literally right down the road from Kings Island. Lexus RCF. Love that engine in that, the 5-liter V8. Mazda MX-5, the ND. That's a fun car. Although I'm one of the very few people, I actually prefer the Fiat 124 Abarth. Or technically the Abarth 124. It was the MX-5 Miata, but it had stiffer springs, and the Miata's there's quite a lot of body roll to it, and I get that. That's part of that car, the character of that car. But the 124 just felt a little bit more sports car to me. Although as much as I love that little 1.4 liter multi-air engine, it suffers from a lot of turbo lag. And the Sky Active engine in the Miata is just more linear. And they updated it a couple years ago, and now it revs even higher, and it went from 155 horsepower to 180. Speaking of Fiat, the Fiat 500L is the worst modern car I've ever driven. I drove one, and it had the dual clutch transmission in it. It was horrible. It was harsh. It was really jerky, in stop and go. It was horrible. Engine was horrible. Suspension was horrible. It looked weird, but it had a Beats audio system in it that was horrible. It was atrocious. It was way too bass heavy. Not balanced. Apparently Dr. Dre himself personally tunes every Beats audio system in a car. Now the Beats audio systems that you can get in a Dodge Charger, I think sound really good. They're much better balanced. But the one in that Fiat was just terrible. The engine, that car, the way I'd say it felt that it was the 1.4, and that engine has character to it, but in that application it just felt strangled. It was so underpowered, and it just was not appealing to me whatsoever. It just was not. No. Apparently in Europe, though, you could actually get that car with an espresso machine built into it. How Italian is that? You're driving around in a Fiat with a built-in espresso machine. Speak of the devil, a Fiat 500L just passed me. So I'm passing a McDonald's right now. It's very close to where I went to grade school. And every year at my grade school, there was a night where the teachers and the staff would work at that McDonald's. And it was a thing to raise money for the school. And I just remember, one of the times I went, the principal was, working the cash register. And I was just oh my God. That is what she should be doing instead of administrating our school. And it was just so weird, seeing your teachers, just working at McDonald's. And even though it was a school thing, it was just it was just strange. And then you went there and you saw all your friends, and I went to Catholic school, and we had to wear uniforms, so everyone, a lot of people were still in their uniforms, and it was just, it was fun, but it was also kind of weird. So right now I'm looking at a Ford Escape, or if you're in Europe, the Ford Kuga, and right behind it is the new Bronco Sport, which is based on the Escape / Kuga, and it just looks so much better in my opinion. It's more interesting, certainly has more character, and apparently for what it is, it's really good off-road. At first I wasn't very keen on the new Bronco. At first I thought it kind of looked like a Chinese knockoff Wrangler, but after seeing it more and more and like the little details it has, I'm actually quite excited for it. I think it looks really cool now, and they should be here fairly soon. So we'll see. And that engines you can get in that, you can get it's the 2.3 liter EcoBoost. I think that's 270 horsepower in that, or you can get the 2.7 liter twin turbo EcoBoost V6, and that's 310 horsepower is their target, so it'll probably be a little bit more. That comes with a 10-speed automatic. The 4-cylinder comes with a 10-speed automatic or a 7-speed manual, and I think I'll have to make sure this is correct. It's a 7-speed manual, but it's like a 6-speed plus 1 like low gear, like a crawler gear. So like for like rock crawling and going off-road. So that's interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to a comparison between Wrangler, Defender, and Bronco. Even though the Wrangler doesn't, even though that Defender doesn't necessarily compete with Wrangler and Bronco in certain ways, it's still, you know, a true 4x4, but it's different just the way it does things. So instead of solid axles, it has a fully independent air suspension, even though the new Bronco has an independent front suspension and a solid rear axle. But I'm excited for it. I think it'd be great. I think the Defender can keep up with both of those. You know, and maybe like a really technical rock crawling section, I think the Bronco and the Wrangler will, you know, walk away from the Defender. But again, that's not necessarily what the Defender is meant to do. Anyway, that will be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you know, all your normal YouTube stuff. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.